Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. Today is National Fentanyl Awareness Day. State lawmakers are introducing legislation to address the opioid epidemic. Also, law enforcement officials today announced a dozen new federal cases targeting fentanyl dealers. One of the cases charges an alleged dealer who distributed the fentanyl to teenage girls. And we have an update on the Hollywood writers' strike and the Oakland teachers' strike. May 9th is National Fentanyl Awareness Day, created to shed light on the lethality of the deadly drug. In California, where overdoses took the lives of teenagers, Democratic lawmakers spoke on the drug issue.
National Fentanyl Awareness Day is on May 9th, which aims to increase awareness on fentanyl and decrease demand for the drug that took lives by surprise. Recognized as an opioid epidemic in America, Republican and Democratic lawmakers have different approaches to tackle the fentanyl crisis.
We've introduced new laws that will employ emergency responders to ensure we have a public health response when people overdose. We've introduced bills to extend Narcan to places like bars and gas stations so that it's there as an emergency intervention to save lives.
Members are also pushing bills to have fentanyl test strips in Cal State universities and community colleges, as well as holding social media platforms accountable, where drugs are often sold.
Fentanyl now kills more Americans under 50 than any other cause of death, more than heart disease, cancer, homicide, suicide, or accidents.
Assemblyman Haney says almost 6,000 people have died from fentanyl overdoses or unintentional fentanyl poisoning in 2021 in California. 2 milligrams is considered lethal. Bills that aim to increase penalties for drug dealers have struggled to pass in California's legislature, as officials debate over whether to use punishment or prevention.
A lot of the reasons people use substances are underlying traumas. Stress, anxiety. We have heard parents of victims who lost their lives who said, my child was just trying to take something for their anxiety.
According to a 2020 unclassified report from the Drug Enforcement Administration, Mexico and China are the primary sources for fentanyl and related substances trafficked into the United States via smuggling and mail. India has also emerged as a source for fentanyl. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
And on Tuesday, law enforcement announced 12 new federal cases against the fentanyl dealers who distributed the drug. NTD also heard from the LA County Sheriff.
In a Tuesday press conference in Los Angeles, federal authorities and law enforcement leaders shared ongoing efforts to combat fentanyl, which reportedly kills 70,000 Americans each year.
We need to ensure that there are consequences for those who traffic in fentanyl, those who kill and cause destruction, all in the name of greed. We need to make sure those consequences are known to others so we can deter this type of criminal conduct.
Law enforcement officials announced a dozen new cases targeting fentanyl dealers. In 11 of those cases, the drug dealers, ranging from age 22 to 32, allegedly sold fentanyl and fake pills that resulted in the death of at least one victim.
We are working in partnership with all the partners you saw up there to make sure that if we have people poisoning our community, our kids, that we are taking very hard action against them to make sure that we try to impact and save lives.
The 12th case charges a suspect that distributed the opioid to teenage girls who suffered overdoses and required hospitalization.
We need to work more with our health partners to deal with the addiction portion of it, because one can argue, why would you be selling it if there's no request for it?
According to the Justice Department, a man who sold fentanyl through the dark web agreed to plead guilty to federal charges. He admitted that his products caused the death of 3 individuals and that he sold fentanyl-laced pills to 2 others who died soon after. Most of the defendants' trials begin in the coming months.
A California tech CEO's remains have been discovered almost a year and a half after he went missing. His remains were found about a mile from where his Uber driver supposedly dropped them off. Bo Man founded tech company Sober Grit in 2015. The firm is designed to support people trying to break free from substance abuse. The Sober Grit app provides 24/7 access to support. A statement from Sober Grit says Man texted 911 while inside an Uber, but was never heard from again. He was supposedly dropped off in Santa Monica. His remains were found in a courtyard near an abandoned building. Authorities are trying to find out why he died. The Hollywood writers' strike has lasted a week now, and it's affecting several favorite TV shows. Here's a look at what people can expect to be delayed.
Writing for a new season of The Handmaid's Tale and a coming Game of Thrones prequel has stopped. Thousands of film and television writers have been on a week-long strike. According to the co-executive producer of the Emmy-winning Hulu drama, The Handmaid's Tale, writers have penned some early episodes for a new season of filming that was supposed to start in late summer. But it stopped when the Writers Guild of America, or WGA, called for a strike. The WGA began a work stoppage on May 2nd after failing to reach a new labor agreement with higher pay from Hollywood studios such as Netflix and Disney. The studios have said they made a generous offer to boost compensation. The final season of Netflix hit Stranger Things was paused. Marvel movie Blade shut down just before filming was set to start. It is unclear how long the strike will last. No new talks have been scheduled between the Guild and the studios. President Biden also backed the Hollywood writers Monday in his first public comments on the strike. He said there should be a, quote, fair deal.
A school district in the San Francisco Bay Area and its union could not come to an agreement over the weekend, so the strike continues. Tuesday marks the fourth day of the strike.
The Oakland Unified School District and Oakland Education Association did not reach an agreement, so the strike continues. Teachers started striking last Thursday, demanding higher pay and a better work environment.
What has caused many to leave our lovely community has been the low pay, the lack of support, the lack of voice, the lack of respect and trust from OUSD administrators.
The union proposed a list of items called Common Goods. It includes a cleaner and safer workplace, using existing resources towards housing, supporting Black students, and sharing decision-making. In a statement, the district said it would continue to work with the union. So far, the district has agreed to increase salaries by 10% and a $5,000 one-time bonus this year. Salaries would then increase from 13% to 22% for the next school year. Also, the time it takes teachers to move to the top of the pay scale will shorten from 32 years to 20 years. The district also says families do not need to report absences during the strike, as they will be automatically marked excused. The strike affects about 34,000 students in the city.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Family members of the two fallen police officers are now suing the LA District Attorney George Gascon for mishandling the convicted felon who shot and killed the officers on duty a year ago. Hollywood actor Scott Baio is the latest celebrity saying goodbye to the Golden State. The Happy Days actor and longtime resident of Los Angeles of 40 years says California is not a safe place anymore. And cheer up with a unique dancing group for the Golden State Warriors. The 55-plus cheerleading group is made up of all members in their golden years. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. Family members of the two fallen police officers in LA are suing the district attorney and the probation department for neglecting their responsibilities. They allege that the officials did not properly handle the convicted felon who shot and killed the officers on duty last year. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon and the County Probation Department are being sued for wrongful death by relatives of one of the two police officers. The officers were fatally shot by a convicted felon at an Monte motel last June. In the lawsuit complaint, family members of the late officer Joseph Santana state that 35-year-old Justin Flores was placed on probation in a plea deal in 2021 after he was arrested in 2020 for being a felon in possession of a firearm and methamphetamine. In a statement, the Santana family said Gascon and the probation department need to be held accountable for their failures that resulted in Joseph's death. No family should ever have to endure the pain we have been through since the tragic passing of our loving son, father, and husband. Even though Flores had a prior felony conviction for burglary, Gascon prevented the prosecutor handling Flores' case from filing a strike allegation against Flores. The suit states that in doing so, Gascon disregarded California's three strikes law, which requires prosecutors to plead prior known strikes. The plaintiff's attorney, David Ring, said 2 young police officers were killed, in part because LA County's probation department sat on its hands and failed to yank a dangerous felon off the streets after he blatantly violated the terms of his probation. The district attorney's office issued a statement on May 4th regarding the suit, saying, "We have nothing but empathy for those who are suffering. We have not received a copy of the filings, we have not reviewed the legal documents, and cannot comment at this time. Again, our heart goes out to the victims of this horrific tragedy." But according to the suit, if Gascon had followed the law, Flores would have been sentenced to prison. After being put on probation in March 2021, Flores was only seen by his probation officer once, even though he was supposed to have monthly check-ins. The San Diego City Council passed an ordinance to further protect the renters' rights, citing that a no-fault eviction has a big impact on tenants. But landlords argue that the property owners are not protected equally by the law, and that they are struggling as landlords. Let's take a look.
Despite the opposition from landlords, the San Diego City Council passed 8-1 an ordinance on April 25th to further protect renters' rights. Councilwoman Jennifer Campbell was the only dissenting vote. Under the ordinance, tenants must be given a 30 to 60 days notice before an eviction if they didn't cause the termination of their lease. Landlords in such cases must also now provide the tenant payment of 2 months' rent to help with their relocation. Former tenants that were subject to a no-fault eviction will also have the first right of refusal if the rental unit is put back on the market within 5 years after their eviction. The council president said that the ordinance is not rent control and does not protect folks that are not paying their bills, but a way of providing a little more security for tenants. But landlords argue that the city is providing protection for renters without equal protection for property owners, especially coming on the heels of the pandemic, when many landlords had to waive rent. Landlord Sabrina Bishop said, quote, "I have always had individuals on the supplemental security income, and I, as a landlord, pay for all of the utilities because they cannot afford it. I am struggling as a landlord." The city council will have a final vote on the ordinance on May 16th.
Senator Dianne Feinstein is returning to the Senate after being absent for more than 2 months. This comes despite facing calls for resignation and potential challengers.
Dianne Feinstein's office disclosed Tuesday that she is returning to Washington. She has been absent for more than 2 months after announcing in early March that she had been hospitalized in San Francisco and was being treated for a case of shingles. But an expected return later that month never happened. The 89-year-old California Democrat is the oldest member of Congress and faced calls from within her own party to resign. Some Democrats openly complained that her lengthy absence was compromising the Democratic agenda in the Senate, including slowing the push to confirm President Biden's judicial nominees. Some urged her to step down. Earlier this month, Feinstein said in a statement that, quote, "There has been no slowdown." Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer confirmed Feinstein's return in a statement. and said he was pleased my friend Diane is back in the Senate and ready to roll up her sleeves and get to work. Feinstein's office says she was traveling and expected to be in Washington Tuesday evening. It wasn't immediately clear when she would appear in the Senate for evening votes. Feinstein, who took office in 1992, announced earlier this year she would not seek re-election in 2024. The senator has faced questions in recent years about her cognitive health and memory, though she has defended her effectiveness. Orange County Representative Katie Porter is seeking to replace her.
One actor is the latest to join the California exodus. He cites the overwhelming homeless crisis and feeling unsafe as the reasons for leaving.
Actor Scott Baio is leaving California after feeling unsafe due to the state's overwhelming homeless crisis. In a tweet on May 3rd, he said, "After 45 years, I'm making my way to finally exit stage right from California," adding, "It's not a safe place anymore." The 62-year-old recently listed his Southern California 5-bedroom, 4.5-bath mansion in the Woodland Hills neighborhood for $3.85 million. The actor paid $1.85 million for the home in 2010. He's not the only celebrity who moved out due to safety concerns. In 2020, TV show host and podcaster Joe Rogan announced his move to Texas, where it's less crowded and considered to have more freedom. The state's metropolitan areas have always struggled with the drastic homeless crisis. The government has put into place many programs to help the homeless community, but critics say it is tackling the matter slowly.
The Golden State Warriors are trying to hold on to their spot in the NBA Western Conference Finals. But NTD's Andrew Thomas has the details on another team performing on basketball's biggest stage.
An older generation of fans are cheering on the Golden State Warriors during this year's NBA playoffs. They're dancing to pump up Dub Nation.
You can't believe what it's like. It's unbelievable. Just to be able to, they're happy, we're happy, everybody's happy. Sometimes they start cheering before we even get started and we can't hear the music.
All of the members of the Hardwood Classics dance group are 55 or older.
I love hanging out and love the rehearsals, and I love the attitudes of everybody. I mean, they have the same thing. They all want to contribute somehow.
They performed on Monday night during the Western Conference semifinals Game 4. Normally they perform on the court, but the Warriors were away at the Los Angeles Lakers, so the team performed outside for hundreds of fans at the Chase Center in San Francisco.
As they say, age is just a number. You can dance good, anyone can join the team. And that's what's nice. I mean, it gives people of all opportunities, because you've seen young kids dance, you've seen people my age dance, you see people like my mom's age dance too. That's just awesome to see.
They were great, and they look really good.
I think they did a great job, and props to them for being their age and coming out and having fun.
Joanna joined the group 5 years ago for the inaugural season. Her only dance experience was as a jazzercise instructor.
Well, I think what I like the most about it, I love the dancing and the performing, but it's being with this group of people. I never thought I could get so attached to people so fast.
Joanna fondly remembers the fans' love and support during her first year.
In a group like that, and everybody was having such a great time, and the audience were so crazy. They were so appreciative, and they were just yelling, and it was just fabulous.
The Warriors need to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the series to make it to the Western Conference Finals. The dancers will see if they can help the reigning NBA champions win another title. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castillo for our sports roundup. We're having an update on the NHL Draft and Awards Finalists.
Let's dive into the California Today Sports Roundup. I'm Tyler Castillo.
The Los Angeles Lakers have trapped the Golden State Warriors to a 3-1 series lead in hopes of advancing to the next round. The Warriors' Stephen Curry grabbed the most points in the game out of any player with 31 points, However, it wasn't enough to push for a victory. For the Lakers, LeBron James scored 27 points and Anthony Davis had 23 points, leading the Lakers to the victory. Lakers 104, Warriors 101. The NHL has released the order of this year's draft lottery, with the lottery being televised yesterday. The Anaheim Ducks finished last in the league and held the best odds to select first overall. However, they dropped to second overall after losing the lottery to the Chicago Blackhawks. Adam Fantilli is a projected second overall pick, where Anaheim will most likely select him this summer. The San Jose Sharks finished fourth last in the league, and they are selecting fourth in this year's draft with no movement in their pick. This year's NHL Draft is going to be held in Nashville, Tennessee on June 28th for the first round and June 29th for the other round. 2 days before the NHL Draft starts, the National Hockey League will hand out annual awards to players around the league. The James Norris Trophy, handed out to the best defenseman in the league, will have the San Jose Sharks' Erik Karlsson as a finalist, alongside with Cale Makar and Adam Fox. Erik Karlsson finished the season with 101 points, the highest point total from a defenseman since Brian Leetch in the 1996 season. The King Clancy Memorial Trophy is handed out to the player that shows best leadership abilities on and off the ice. The Anaheim Ducks nominee was Kevin Shattenkirk, with Los Angeles Kings submitting Mikey Anderson as their nominee, and the San Jose Sharks have Luke Kunin as their nominee. Brandon Drury's RBI triple in the 8th inning made the difference, as Los Angeles opened a 3-game series against Houston with the win in Anaheim. With score 4-4 in the 8th, Anthony Rendon drew a lead-off walk off Rafael Montero. After Hunter Renfroe flied out, Drury blasted a first-pitch sinker to deep center, and the ball caromed off the wall and gave Rendon ample time to advance home from first base. LA tacked on another run when Matt Dice's deep sacrifice fly scored Drury, giving Carlos Estevez a cushion to pick up his 8th save of the season. Hunter Brown pitched 4 1/3 innings for Houston, allowing 4 runs on 9 hits. Angels 6, Astros 4.
And that is all for the California Today Sports Roundup.
Thanks, Tyler, and that's all we have got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.